15 characters long.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's class on Wimp Junction. I'll tell you, I was up all night. I'm not sure if it had to do with this. Couldn't sleep because I got up. I'll make an apology right now. Something I ate yesterday didn't agree with me. So if I just suddenly say, 2-minute break, you know why, okay? I just might have to run into that room over there. So, 2-minute break, talk amongst yourselves, and I'm gone. It just might happen, right? But I was also up all night because I realized that I was talking about Wimp Junction, and you really can't talk about Wimp Junction without talking about head trash. And you're wondering, what's head trash? Well, head trash is that trashy thoughts you have in your head that you need to get rid of. Okay.
Negativity.
Unfortunately, I'm not going to get into head trash this week because I woke up at 5 and started writing the head trash, thing, and I got well into it. I got like 2 hours worth of stuff, so now I have to go back and pare it down into what you're willing to follow. So I'll do head trash next week. I am waiting for Claudio to jump on here. He said he would be on, so he messaged me last night. Of course, he was texting me at midnight. Oh, come on. All right, we'll see if he jumps on here. I invited several other new people who said they would Zoom in too, and they're not, so.
Not yet.
So what does that mean?
Technical errors.
Okay.
His shoes are that arrow. It's really driving me crazy.
Right? Because it's off center.
They're not. Yeah, it's just not center. I'm looking at it, it just wants to drive me crazy right now.
Your OCD is kicking in. Is that what you're telling us?
I don't have OCD, but those are wrong.
I think
I think you do. I know exactly what you're doing.
sounds pretty OCD to me.
Yeah.
Well, he'll just have to come in later. First, where's Dwayne?
Dwayne, are you able to come in here?
Yeah. He's still closing his contract.
Well, we're doing wins and losses. Now, why do we do wins and losses?
We learn from each other.
Make everybody else feel bad.
All excellent.
To boost everybody up.
All excellent reasons. Excellent reasons.
My reason's the
To
best.
prove it's
No.
working.
And no matter what answer we say, we know it's right. But
Yeah.
that's right.
Yeah, that's
You're
right.
right too. You're right
That's
too.
right. You're
To make sure you don't repeat failure.
Make sure you don't repeat failure. Those are all good reasons. My favorite reason is it makes you go out and do something this week, so you have something to talk about in class next week.
Yeah.
Whenever I get in a situation, I'm always thinking, is this going to be good for class next week? Is this going to be a win or a loss? But we have a big win. And do you have $1? You need $1 and some tape. Okay.
I might have both in my
Denise,
purse.
can you go get the tape
Oh,
off?
really?
Get tape off my desk.
And here.
Denise, go get tape off. Denise, can
I
you
have
get
tape in my purse.
That's my pocket. What else is in that
You win
purse?
the award.
No, I want you to-
It's not a purse, it's a file cabinet. Look at that.
That's for you. First of all, tell everybody about your success.
I closed the account that went to Met up in Asbury for a medical client. They are a company that does clinical trials. Okay.
Okay, we usually put $1 so you.
Yeah.
Well, you can do it, John. Yeah.
You're going to write on the $1.
Oh, I have no idea how you write on that.
You're going to deface the
You
dollar.
write on that?
You know that's illegal, right?
Live.
According to who?
U.S. government.
You haven't seen the ones where they're making the Canadian president look like snakes?
No, I have not.
That's
I will write on it then, so you don't have to go to jail.
I don't know if it's illegal or not. Just
Last week, the date was the 13th, right? Yeah. That's when you got the contract, on the 6/13?
Last Thursday.
So 6/13/19. What's the name of the company?
Excel Research.
Excel. I'm just gonna put Excel. I'm gonna put Dwayne. And it's 2,600 a month times 12. What's 2,600 times 12? How much is it a year?
30,000 a year.
What did you?
No, 2,600 times 10 is 26,000.
Oh, you're right. So it's
Plus
about
5 is 30,000. Plus another 5.
It's
It's
30. It's okay.
about $30,000.
30 plus K. Okay.
31.2.
31.2. Okay.
Oh, God. I said 32. Pretty close.
I don't know if you can all see that dollar up on the wall there. That dollar right there. That's our first dollar on the wall. Okay, somebody who used the stuff we learned in this class, at least partially.
Much as I could remember.
Yep. And the deal closed. So if that's, you all have that to look forward when you get a big win, you put a dollar on the wall. So,
Yeah.
anything else you want to tell us about the deal? It kind of went the way you said. They set the contract, all's good, it's proceeding.
Yep. We're just waiting to get together with them now and get the implementation started. The implementation is like onboarding. For us, onboarding means getting rid of the other company's software and put all our software on our management software and our software, and then getting stuff in the help desk to start. I'll probably start in July 1st. I'm just waiting for the guy I'm doing with because he's, got a lot going on his plate. I said, well, just let me know when you're ready. We need help. I'm ready to work on this.
Well, you're not the only one with a dollar on the wall today.
Right, John.
Oh, he's got $1 out already.
Luke, did you get $1?
What was the date? 18th, 19th. 2 clients, same day. And they're going to be worth about 50K to us.
My little $2 doesn't count for nothing.
It's not so much the size. Look, look, that's the one who likes to in the box. Okay, he's joined Grayson class. That was an answer to prayer. I told you all before. I said, please, God, give me some agents to send me some business. And so far, 4 agents have sent me 4 clients or 4 prospects. 2 of them closed. The smallest one went with ADP.
That's crazy, isn't it?
And which is kind of weird. That's kind of a loss because I shopped them to ADP. And ADP said no.
You took them?
But she went to, obviously she probably went to her, what I think happened is she went to her bank. And the bank said, we can put you with ADP.
Oh, right.
And the bank's telling him that. Problem is, as soon as they find out about the workers' comp, they're probably going to get declined. So I didn't.
They'll circle back.
Yeah, I emailed her to, I said, I asked ADP. They said no. I would love to meet the person you talked to, so I can get approved. She hasn't responded yet. I'm not expecting. Anybody else have a win or loss this week?
You tell me, John, are you getting this?
Oh,
That's why I win. That's perfect sandwich stuff right there. I like that.
so this is my payment for training.
Here you go.
How many do I take?
1 a day.
1 a day?
1. You can take 2.
So
But
that won't hurt today, too.
if you take 2, then you need to come to me more often.
Oh,
It's kind of, you need to. It's not this.
Just
Just take the whole bottle.
What?
Just do the whole bottle.
take a bottle a day, right?
That's what I heard.
Okay, you should really be on.
Kathleen didn't hear that. She's like, oh.
You should really be on this as well. This is actually really important.
They're the same thing or different?
For mitochondrial energy, and that's for oxidative stress.
This is for arthritis. Okay.
Both of them actually.
All right. Well, that's what I want is for my arthritis.
Yes, and because you're older,
This looks like
it takes a
double
little
X.
longer. 1 a day.
It's five ingredients, all natural.
It's a vitamin, right?
Sorry,
Activated.
Is that you,
It's not vitamin.
We got a dealer in here. She's a pusher.
Activators are not the same as
Wins. All right.
Well, I closed 2 deals this week, so I'm pretty happy. So, okay.
Big?
They will total. It's going to be worth about $4,000 up front, and then the trails would be, I don't know.
How do you feel?
I was pretty happy.
Is that $1?
Yeah, it could be. I don't have any dollars on me, but not right now. We'll wait. I gotta wait till they put their first dollar into the bank. So it's closed, and once they put their first dollar into the bank, and say that's going to take care of it. Now those should happen July 1st.
Okay, so once they put the dollar, when that happens, we'll do the dollar.
Yep. If that's the case, well, I'll do my third deal on Tuesday. He'll do the same thing on July 1st. So it's might be $3.
Yeah. Yeah. The local hold
I'm gonna have to go to the bank, make
Yeah.
get a loan.
You have to become a waiter to get a lot of dollars.
But yeah, I was pretty happy about that.
All right, that's good. I think we hit everybody.
I got a new
Luke, I wanted to hear from you how it went with the guy who put you in the bubble, in the fishbowl.
Yeah, I have emailed the purchaser there to no avail. Done quite a bit of cold calling, cold emailing to no avail. I would say the biggest problem I'm having right now, I have 2 different quotes out there. One company's gone totally cold and won't even give me an answer. The other one says, we need more time, we need more time. I would kind of consider both of them a loss because I want to be slamming the door on them. And
Hold on, we got some background noise. We're trying. So you sent out 2 proposals and you haven't heard back yet.
right, and one of the companies isn't even communicating either. So I mean that one's really concerning. At least the one that hasn't. Or the one that is responding is probably going to say we're too expensive. I can work with that.
Okay.
But, they're not – the other company isn't responding back at all. So I'm like, I guess that's their way of saying no thanks maybe. Or I mean, I'll check back in with them, but, you can only hound them so much before you have that wagging dog tail type of thing, So, yeah, I guess the one win that I've had – I was researching a company, and I had conflicting information on where their headquarters was, whether it was in New Jersey or New Hampshire. So I started doing some more cross research and saw that their old New Jersey headquarters was right next to a commercial printer. So I was like, there's no way. Why even bother calling these guys?
Well, they might hate him.
I was exactly. I was like, call them anyway. Maybe they just had a big meltdown with them, or maybe they don't use them, or maybe they totally moved to New Hampshire.
They might have going on. They might be fighting over dumpsters. You never know.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So I call them anyway, and turns out they have moved to New Hampshire. And I actually got a live receptionist on the phone, and he says, I asked him, I said, I went to University of New Hampshire. Where are you guys located? And he says, we finalized our move to Somersville, or Somersworth, excuse me. We finalized our move to Somersworth about a year ago, and we're here now. And he was a fellow UNH grad as well. And he gave me the purchaser's name, who was supposedly not in the office that day. But at least now I have their name. I did talk a little bit about their needs. He did know a little bit about what they use as far as folding cartons. He knows that they've been entertaining quotes that are what they call sky high. So, I mean, at least it's some action. And I thought at first it was going to be a total waste of time, and it turned out to be a reasonable prospect.
So this is one of the 2 that you sent a quote to?
No, this is just a new company, but that would be my one win, I guess. But yeah, the other 2 companies I kind of scouted out a couple months ago, and
now they're next door to a printing company.
They used to be, but they moved. Yeah.
So do you think you could go elephant in the room on that one? And say, Hey, let's talk about the elephant in the room. You used to live right next door to a big big commercial printing company. Why would you use us?
Well, the other thing that he did, he divulged some pain right away. He said one of the issues not only was the high price on quotes, they've been stuck with minimum orders, and they don't like that. Which I mean, that's not a great thing from a personal sales perspective because you want to sell a really big order.
Yeah.
But sometimes you got to sell a couple small ones to get to that big one.
And you can get around the minimum order problem?
Yeah, we don't have a minimum order
Okay.
requirement. So, and our versatility has us set up in a way where we can do the digital printing line and do those smaller orders without a whole lot of headaches, basically. So, hopefully that'll be a way to get in. I'll keep working on it. Other than that, it's tough. About 1 out of every 50 companies will respond. The rest of them just don't respond.
Then you need to contact 500 to get your 10.
Right. No, you're exactly right. And the magnitude of that is starting to set in. In retail, your percentages are so much higher. So,
but don't forget that it takes more than 1 or 2 or 3 touches to get somebody to some of these companies. Some can take 8 or 9. So persistence pays off.
Exactly.
We're going to talk about that today. But so you mentioned the digital printing. So the iGen is up and running?
Yep.
Oh, that's good to know. I know that was an expensive little project Bob had. I'm glad.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
All right, good. Not $1 on the wall yet, but when you get your first deal, we'll put one up for you and take your virtual picture. Oh yeah, I need to get your picture next to the dollar.
Okay. Sounds good.
And I got to send it to Mike.
I charge for pictures of you. So.
Charge $1.
We'll take it off your bill.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're talking about Wimp Junction, and every sales process has at least one decision point, at least one where you have to make a decision as to whether you're going to let the prospect rule the system, decide which system you use, or you're going to decide. Right? It took me a while to get Wimp Junction, to really understand what it was. They kept talking about it and kept saying this, but I finally one day realized, okay, now I know what they're talking about. Really is like, say in Luke's case, somebody keeps bugging him for a quote. And he's like, well, I don't, what are you going to do with the quote if I send it? And they say, just send me the quote. Well, his boss has told him to send the quote. Mm-hmm. So he's now using the prospect system. Okay. When you sent the proposal, you were in, turbulent waters there because we didn't know what system was in there, but hey, it worked. So, you had the right bonding and rapport or whatever it was when things like that happen, when the prospect starts directing how things go, that's a Wimp Junction. Okay. Sandler had a Bill of Rights. Okay. There are 5 bills of rights that I chose from him, and there's got to be 10 bills of rights, right? There's got to be 10 of them, 10 amendments. So there's 5 of mine afterwards that I'm putting in. So there's Sandler's salesperson's Bill of Rights, and then you're going to see Tenney's salesperson's Bill of Rights. Okay. The first one is you got a right to a fair trial. But what do you think that means?
It means customers and prospects often.
No, don't read it.
I mean, you have to be given the ability to not just be like railroaded. I mean, there has to be something that you're offering and they're listening. It's fair. It's fair. It's not like you just come in, they start demanding that you do all these things. It's not one-sided.
Then you understand what you're offering compared to what your competitors are offering.
Yeah, I think you have the ability to have that
being judged fairly.
I like all 3 of those because I really don't know what it means. I'm curious to hear what it means to you all. When I think of it, I think it means, Grace, you have a question? I muted you, so you're going to have to unmute because I could hear somebody. Go ahead, Grace, you have a question?
Okay. Well, I think I have an idea of what it means. Like you're saying that they have a right to a fair trial before you decide whether they get to make the decision in the prospect or you get to make the decision, right? It's like you're like deciding if you think they can do that.
That's very intuitive.
Hmm.
Okay, yes, because she's right. What is a trial? It's a system for gathering information and coming to a decision, isn't it?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh, point for Grace.
Good
Good one, Grace. Very good. I'm going to mute you back up again so we don't hear the cats and stuff. So you got to. That's good. I wasn't quite sure. For me, I thought it was if somebody doesn't understand what you do, you have a right to ask them, "Do you know what I do?" And find out if they really understand. That's what I thought. Because a lot of times people think they know what I do. And then I ask them, oh, okay, well, tell me what I do. And what comes out is almost, but not exactly, the opposite of what I really do. You know? It's like the complete no, I'm not that at all. I mean, if I ask Denise, what do I do?
You want to ask me?
Yeah.
You take care of employers' employees' paperwork.
You have employers focus on their job while you focus on the employee.
You keep them from getting sued.
Those are all parts, but it doesn't really describe what I do. Dwayne, what do I do?
Yeah, it took me a year to get that, by the way.
And you still haven't got it.
I know.
There's one word which describes what I do. It
Service.
starts with M.
Live, sleep, and breathe. Manipulate.
Yeah, manipulate. Yes, I manipulate.
Manage.
You got it, you got it.
Manage.
And does Luke want to tell you what you do?
Luke, what does he do, Luke?
Manage.
I said manage.
Manage.
Yeah, I was gonna say manage as well. Manage or management.
That's
No,
pretty good. No?
Kathleen just said the word.
Matchmaker. Matchmaker.
I'm a matchmaker
Oh, yeah, you're putting employers with the right insurance products.
with the right PEO or the right payroll company or the right HR solution. Yes, that's all I do. Is people come to me with their problems, with their employer problems, and I find the right solution to fix them, and I get paid to do that.
All right.
See, it takes people years to figure that out. We have people working for us who didn't know what we did.
Wow.
This guy, Adam, was working for us for 3 months, had already gotten us 2 clients. And one day I'm explaining to him that he's trying to get the company to do something. I go, no, the company doesn't have to do that. Why not? Because the PEO does it. And he went like, oh, he had a VA moment, you know?
Yeah.
He said, oh, the light bulb went on. He went, I get it. I get it. And he'd already sold 2 clients. And he didn't really know what we do. So I believe that you have a right to a fair trial. You have a right to explain to people, if they're interested, what you do.
And where is it usually done at, though? What part of the sub?
What part of the sub is
Is that
that?
part of the report?
That
Or
would
is
be
part of the-
that would be probably in the upfront right after you know
When you first down the contract.
the first 3.
TAON.
The first 3 that would be in the first 3 in pain. It would be bonding report, upfront contract, and pain. I would say, are you aware of what we do? Probably right after the upfront contract, I would do that. Are you aware of what we do? And if they say something that's reasonably close, I'll say, okay, that's pretty good. And if they say something that's totally off, I go, that's kind of off. Would you like to hear what we do? Can I give you my 30-second commercial? It kind of fits in the 30-second commercial, I guess. But let's go back to Grace's definition. It's a trial. We're going to find out, gather all the elements, and then we're going to come to a verdict, whether we're going to work together or not.
Okay.
I think that one, and I'm not saying that just because she's my daughter. Now, this one I've never had to deal with.
Of course not.
No.
There's humility right there.
I mean, I thought I was wrong once, but I was mistaken. No.
Yeah. That means us. We have a right to be wrong.
This was, I wish I'd known this when I first started. Because when I first started selling the business and getting in the business I am now, I was wrong so often. And I tried to act like I knew it. You know, I faked it. And people told me years later, we knew you were faking it.
Yeah. Because they knew what was right.
We knew. You didn't know what the hell you were talking about. But it's, so I look at this one as saying you can not know something, but you can also make a mistake, and you can come back and go, hey, I made a mistake. Let me fix it. Have we made mistakes?
So you said mistakes, you mean mistakes in the sales process?
No, or even mistakes, even in service.
Information process.
Okay, so
service
this is salesperson, so that's what I'm asking, what portion you're relating to.
All of the above.
Anything
In your
communicate to
dealings with your prospects and clients. But you're right. Certainly in the sales process, we can make mistakes. I've made mistakes, and I call Brooke, I made a mistake. Can we start over? Can I have a do-over?
What we try to do, what I've learned in my previous career in the military, and a lot of people in business today is, if you don't do something, you just got to have the courage to say, I don't know. If you don't know something, just have the aggression. I don't know it, but I'm going to find the answer. I'm going to let you know. And the linchpin that everybody fails to plug in and finish the process is actually letting them know. So it's just a part of, yeah, I'm not going to tell you something I don't know and be wrong. I'm just going to tell you I don't know and then follow up with it. So.
Way better. It's way better to do the I don't know than to try to BS your way through something, and they'll figure out that you really don't. That you really just BS them just to get the deal. They can see through that a lot of times.
Unless you're in tap class, then you can take it until you make it. As
Which,
long as there's a room full of people.
what class is that?
Tap
Tap class? All right. This one also goes to Wimp Junction too, because sometimes when you're wrong, they try to move you. And so you have to go in and admit you're wrong and take control back again and say, hey, go ahead, Luke.
I was just going to say, yeah, that as far as sometimes you have to admit that you don't have the information. One thing that I was always kind of taught when I first started selling retail is never say something you don't know to be 100% true. Because if you say something that you think might be true or you want to be true and it isn't, the chance of it coming back to bite you is far too great, and it usually does.
Sure.
So yeah, you have the right to be wrong, but at the same time, make sure you're not. I don't know how to say it. I shouldn't say making stuff up, but just make sure you never say anything that you know to not be fact, basically, because it can bite you.
But I think this is saying that you might actually truly think something's correct, but you're still wrong. So you still have to be able to go back and say, yeah, I believe that was 100% correct from my understanding, but I was wrong because I misunderstood what the product was or my boss wanted, whatever the stick. So that's where this comes in, right?
But I think he's also got a point. Does this say it, Luke? This phrase, you want to under-promise but over-deliver?
Yeah.
You don't want to promise something you can't deliver. And even if you're sure you can, you say like, well, I'm going to do my best to make sure this gets delivered.
That's
right.
That's where you're at. Like, based on the information I had then, that's what I thought was correct. I have come across new information. I realized I was wrong.
Well, that's where this comes in right here, because you could go in totally thinking something because that's how you were trained. You might have been trained incorrectly. What happened to me? Or if you misunderstand Microsoft's policy, their policy might be this, but it might be very,
like
or not really clear. So and then you go back and say, you know what? Rereading this Microsoft policy, this is what home license really needs to work. So this is what you really got to deal with.
So that's in product knowledge. You can be wrong, I think, right?
Yeah. But I deal with more product.
Yeah.
For me, so that's where I would be wrong on product.
Now you do, but we're going to get you into sales.
Yeah.
Because that's where the money is.
Yeah.
And we want you to have more money so you can take us to SAC Theater more often.
Yes. I need to go.
We went for Father's Day. It was fun.
That's right.
You did again?
We went for Father's Day. It was fun.
Okay. So you have the right to be wrong. Then this is sort of the same thing. I guess it's a corollary, really. This is 2A, isn't it? You have the right to not know all the answers. This is sort of what we're talking about again, isn't it? And I demonstrated this in the role play I did with Juliana, because I didn't know all the answers, but I just told her, I don't know all the answers. And I like the way the Sandler trainer from Delray Beach put it here. I took this off of his website. Let's face it, sometimes customers ask questions that we are simply unable to answer off the top of our head. And it's fine not to know it, as long as you understand why they're asking it. Remember the reverse we use if they ask us a question that we don't want to answer, which is almost every question to me. I go, that's a great question. Glad you're asking that right now, but can I ask you a question? Why are you asking it right now? Is that going to be critical? If we can't address that question, are we done? You know, because that's where I'm going to go with it. Remember, I'm in information gathering mode when I'm on a sale, as you should be. You are gathering information, not giving. And you're being a nurturing, understanding, listening machine.
What did you say? Is that a what kind of question?
Is that critical?
Is that a critical item? You know, I mean, is that mission critical? That's the kind of word you would say for in the tech industry. Is that mission critical? It's kind of jargonish, but you know, if you're in a jargon industry, you can do that. What I'll say with in the PEO business is that a deal breaker? I don't know if I can do that. If I can't, is that a deal breaker? And that helps me a lot because I want to know what the deal breakers are up front as soon as I possibly can. All right.
Yeah, the caveat on that to what you said in previous classes is that if we're able to solve that or able to fix that, that's good.
Yeah, but if I could, David Sandler says that the 4 most useful words this one guy taught this one guy was those 4 words. But if I could, and if I could, you know.
And if
Somebody said,
the problem with you brought it up. So if I can handle that problem for you,
What would you next?
well, it needs to have this and that.
Yeah.
And if I could. That's Grace, what's the noise?
Oh,
Sorry. Okay. Thought you were playing a noise for us or something. All right. You got the right to be persistent. And this is what I was telling you, Luke. They say it takes average of 8 touches before a prospect will engage in a meaningful conversation. I don't know where those numbers come from, but I don't care if it's 8. So what if it's 7? What if
I've heard 7 to 12.
Yeah. So, I mean, they're all, but certainly the average isn't 1.
Right.
It's more than 1. If you're doing cold contacting, you got to reach out to them. Like I'm meeting with a potential client tonight. Orlando Brewing. I've been talking to Orlando Brewing for 3 years. The first year I talked to them, they weren't interested. Second year I talked to them, they said, we're getting ready to renew, but you need to talk to this girl. So I talked to the girl, Chris goes, I'm all set. I don't need you. I run into the owner again back in November last year. He said, you know, we just renewed again. I forgot to tell Crystal to call you. I said, well, can you tell her now that I'll call her next year? And he said, would that help? I said, yeah. He goes, yeah. So he texted her and I emailed her. I said, Crystal, I'm going to be looking to talk to you around July or August about your October renewal. And she said, oh yeah, John told me to call. Because you think it can really help us? I go, I don't know. I have to see what you got. I mean, maybe you're in the right place, but she said she would talk to me sometime. She doesn't know I'm coming tonight. We're going there for another function.
Yes,
Veterans function, right?
I'll see you there.
Yeah, you'll be there, right?
Yep.
So-
Oh, is that thing tonight?
Beer club. Oh,
Veterans
Veteran Beer Club.
That's not
VBC.
Kevin's thing, it's
Oh, Kevin invited us to.
No, that's Kevin's. Would you please go to that? Because I'd love to know how that is.
different.
I wanted to go. You can't go to that one?
Meetings class tonight. I'm not gonna go without her.
All right. Why, you want to go dance with her?
No, first of all, it's early in the day. It's 4 o'clock or something like that, or 5 o'clock.
It's
It's all in
5:30.
Altamont from here, but you get through traffic.
It's 5:30 in Altamont. I know. I told him that's like.
Coming from East Orlando, it's a pain in the ass to do it.
Yeah.
I said,
What
do you
is
know?
it?
I said, Kevin,
It's
why?
not working. Oh, okay.
No, it's networking
Yeah,
with
it
all
is
the other
networking.
people that are in the iTex network.
The meeting.
Yeah, it's like, okay, it's on Douglas Avenue, and you start leaving our house and you start trying to get that way, it's like, oh, come on, seriously.
It's wrong place, wrong time.
Yeah.
Because you spend almost 45 minutes, almost an hour to get there
I
from our
mean,
house.
even if you live in Altamont, it's going to take you forever to
Is
get
there
there.
another one?
What's that meme says fact? Orlando is an hour away from Orlando.
Pretty much.
It is.
At 5:30, it is.
I know, I drive through Altamont on the way home every day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I saw, yeah, from here, Altamont is nightmarish. So
The
there's no
only way
quick
to
way
go
over there.
here is just to go down to 436 at Colonial. Well, you can probably go down.
Yeah.
I take Dean, I take Hall Road over to 436 and straight over, but still 436 is still.
All right.
Am I going?
Sorry, you
Yeah.
must go.
Everybody needs a little bit
All right,
of
so-
this.
We're off on traffic.
We apologize.
Okay, so we can be persistent about our traffic problems too. So stay persistent and consistent. Okay, and his last, and Delray's guys, you got the right to ask tough questions. Sometimes you want to confirm you have the right to ask tough questions, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want me to ask you the tough questions? Do you want me to ask you the sissy ones? Ooh, that's a nasty cough. Sounds like a cat escaping
Those is
from.
dry.
You know, that's what I say. Do you want me to ask the tough questions? Do you want me to ask the little wimpy ones?
They wouldn't want to be talking to you. They wouldn't talk to you if they didn't want you to ask tough questions.
I want them to say that. Remember, if the prospect says it,
And it's okay.
then they said it, right? People never argue with their own numbers,
You're agreed.
right? So that's just the way it is.
So you asked them, like, you want me to ask you tough questions? You want me to hand you a kid gloves kind of thing?
If I know I'm coming up on a tough question, I'll go, look, I've got some tough questions coming up. Are you going to be okay with that? And they'll say, what do you mean? Well, I'm going to ask some questions that you may not want to answer. If you don't want to answer, that's fine, but can I ask them?
So here comes the
So I come
tough
across that
question.
part a lot.
Yeah.
Want to ask tough questions.
Like-
So,
This girl, the new construction staffing we're talking with, she asked me yesterday, how much do I pay for your services? I said, ooh, you asked the tough questions, huh? All right. I said, you want to know how much I charge? She goes, yes, please. I go, are you sitting down? She said, yeah. I said, you got your seatbelt on? She said, wow. What's this? I said, how much charge? I go, nothing. Nothing? She says, yeah. Once in a while, we'll charge maybe a $500 setup fee, but I don't think we're going to need that in your case. I get paid by the company I put you with. They give me commission. So don't worry about it. You don't have to pay me anything unless you order some a la carte services. But for what we're doing right now, nothing. She was like, well, that wasn't such a tough question.
Right?
You build it up and then bring it back down.
I like it.
See,
I've always done that. That's how I get things.
I do that to my wife all the time. She hates it because I don't
the
know.
wife knows how to get the
Right?
Grace, don't listen.
I want $1,000. I'll settle for 300 right now.
Well-
And you can give it a 700 later.
Our president learned that lesson from Jimmy Carter. I think I
Oh,
told you that
yeah.
story, right?
Yes, you did. Trump and Jimmy Carter.
Yeah.
And
Jimmy Carter
Jimmy
went in.
Carter
He was
said,
ready to write him
"I'm
a
gonna
check
have
for
somebody."
$50,000 or something. He said, I'd like you to write me a check for $5 million. And he said, if you'd have told me that morning that Jimmy Carter was going to walk out of my office with $1 million check, I'd have told you you're crazy. But he did. So, you go big and then negotiate low, right?
yeah.
Okay, now we get into the Tenny salesperson's bills of rights. Now, these are from Sandler. They're just my adaptations. Do you know what I mean by plant your feet?
Stand your ground.
Stand your ground, right? Not the way Zimmerman did, but you know.
You have your stuff. They don't let them pull you over and take advantage of what you're doing where you're not getting.
Yeah, if somebody looked exactly, if they look like they're trying to direct you somewhere, you go, can we stop? It's starting to look like we may not be a good fit. Am I wrong?
I got a family to take care of too. I
Yeah.
gotta take care of yours and mine. at the same time.
They don't care about your family.
I know.
Remember that. They don't care about your family. They don't care about your circumstances or anything like that. We're going to get into that next week too with head trash. Never bring up your personal part. Remember who talks to the client?
You know.
The nurturing parent and the adult. That your problems, they're down here in the child. The child never talks in the sales class.
See what you said there. I disagree with part of it though. You do tell them a little bit about your situation, especially in my case. I tell a lot of people when it comes to the insurance side, that I was too late. I was late to the game when me and my wife got insurance, and we pay. If I would have bought it 10 years earlier, my insurance would be a lot cheaper than it is now. And I showed them this is what I pay now. Where you're at now, you would be down here cheaper. So I have to compare myself.
Those two things are different. The first thing you said, look, I got to feed my kids too. Like the sale's about you.
No, I'm just talking about what you said.
But when
don't
you
talk
give
about
us-
your situation.
But your story is for the purposes so they can identify with your need to their need,
Sure, okay.
right? Don't make the mistake I made. Personal stories are fine, but saying like, hey, I got to make this sale because I got to feed my wife and children.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah, they don't
Well,
care.
not that you gotta make a sale, but I think it was that year that we're trying to chew down the price and. be
Yeah.
unfair.
Well, Sandler used to make the example like you never want to beg. He had a rule that said no begging.
Right. Wayne did something this week. Somebody was saying something about his price. He said, he's like, that's my price. He just kept saying, that's my price. That's my price.
Oh,
There's
Yeah.
gotta be a better way to say that.
Well, there is.
what does it work for you?
Another way to say what, I could probably help with that.
Is that Grace?
Another way to say what. This is kind of like a staticky, so I could probably help.
Say, that's my price. I'm not lowering it.
I would say,
It's pretty hard.
things that you said to say. Well, have you ever tried, bought something for the cheapest price and then got a bad result?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That could be appropriate. That there's probably a better time to do that. But you could also do,
In the shower?
yeah, the shower. Good time. You can always do those things in the shower because you're the only one listening.
Yeah, true.
Hopefully, or maybe hopefully not. I mean, I don't know which. Okay, I'm feeling a lot of pressure here.
I just thought of wings and a phone pass.
Wait, I think I got something.
Grace, what?
I think I got something, and maybe. Like, I'm really sorry, I can't lower my price. If you really need something that cheap, you should go somewhere else like that.
Okay,
'Cause usually-
there's the D.
Going like that low, like they might not have anywhere else to go anyway.
Yeah, she said, I'm really sorry you don't like my price. I guess you can go somewhere else.
I'll
Which
never say
is,
that.
well, you want to say that, but you want to say it diplomatically. And the one thing is to get them to ask. So you ask them a question. Like you just said, that's my price. And you probably could have said something like,
What did you say?
why do you think that price is unreasonable? Well, why do you say
Well, I'm
that?
talking about the doctor I was dealing with, because that was that one guy. I'm not like doing on one services, but
She brought it up. She said, you told somebody this week that that's my price.
yeah. But listen, remember I told you that the guy Josh was referring to this win? He had the other doctor that's kind of starting a, and he doesn't want to, so he just wants us to come in there and get his internet straightened out and put it in wireless. And I said, great. And I told him, what my price was, and he's going, well, that's, the other guy charged me. I said, well, the other guy plainly told you he wasn't an IT guy. That's why you have me come in here. He's this other guy. I said, well, you paying for IT? You want IT? That's what I do. You don't like it? Don't.
Did you want the client?
No, I just
Okay.
do this was fair for
Then it
Josh.
doesn't matter what you said to him.
Yeah, true. Okay.
I was hoping that he said he didn't want to do the work with me, but I explained, look, I said, I can't charge him with the other guy. He's not an IT guy.
Please don't do work with me.
I mean, you know what could come out of it? A long-term relationship could come out of it, maybe, just maybe. But I want to know that I'm not going to be pushed around, and I'm not going to build my price because you
I
think.
want to give you a rule, though. This is an Amway rule, believe it or not. I learned this in Amway. Every loser knows a winner. And even
That's
though
true.
that doctor was a loser, you didn't want anything to do with him. Remember the rule of 250?
I know that's why,
Yeah, so
but I'm still not going to lower my price.
you don't have to lower the price.
Never did.
But there's a better way to do it than just saying, that's my price. Deal with it. Isn't there?
At that moment, I was frustrated because I'd been there way longer than I was supposed to. I waited for him.
Oh, so
and I was
this,
just pissed.
so this
The
guy's
child came in.
Oh, I was pissed.
the C was the child
Yeah.
was talking, right? See,
Because I wasn't worried about not getting that account at that point.
but see,
Then you got to worry about there though. It's obviously the people that talk to those, but the thought going back to your friend.
Friend,
that recommended them. It's
yeah.
like, dude, you sent me this douche.
Well, I wasn't,
I wouldn't do that.
but I wasn't, listen, I wasn't coarse.
No,
No, listen, I wasn't cross when I said it.
Okay.
I just explained that's why it's my price. Basically, this is my price. I said,
Wait.
the reason why my price is my price.
Wait, the next time you get in that situation where you've been disrespected, which is what happened, somebody disrespected you or dissed you, I'm gonna use military terminology. Okay,
That's no.
the next time you,
I I thought that was street talk.
That was,
Yeah, that's
that's straight up.
talk.
That's
They
straight
got
up
it.
rock right
They
there.
got it from the Marines.
Oh,
I first heard it in the Marines like 50 years ago. So, okay. So the next time someone's in that situation, use it to your advantage.
Okay.
And you can say like, you know, I'm sorry. I guess I picked the wrong time. We're both busy. I've had to like handle like 500 calls while I've just been here waiting for you. Should I come back at another time when you got more time?
Gotcha.
Because now you want to kind of subtly, and I'm saying, and I'm real good at being subtle. You guys have noticed that. Subtly make him feel guilty for making you sit out there and wait. Like your time's important
yeah,
too.
that's a good idea.
But you guys say, look, you're obviously, you know, we're both business owners. Your time's important. My time's important. This wasn't a good setup. Can we start over? We got to do over. I mean, I know, I guess you didn't know I've been sitting out here for an hour and a half. And, you know, or you just got so busy, you got something more important, which, hey, that happens. But is this a good time, or should we just reschedule this, or should we just throw in the towel? You know, go for the no. And then if him say it like, no, I don't want you to go.
Yeah.
I need your services. Because what you're doing then is
Changing. Yeah.
leveling the playing field. You got to level the playing field. You can go not okay, but it's because you go not okay. Remember, that's a Wimp Junction too.
Yeah.
If somebody's making you feel not okay when you didn't do it, you have to resist that,
Okay.
right? You got to say, no, I'm not okay. I'm okay. You're okay. We're even. Let's level the playing field. But you can't
So
do it.
how you
You
do
can't be
that?
your child. You've got to do it logically and nurturingly. You can't sit there and go,
You kind of balance out and say, look, I'm this person, you're this, I'm this.
You can't say-
you're this.
you can say, you jerk, you made me wait an hour and a half. Because that's not
That's
gonna-
the wrong way to do it.
That's the wrong way to do it.
What I'm thinking
I
about
would
is
never
that
do
working
that.
last week, that pendulum always stayed one to the left of them. Or
Yep.
you're staying one negative or one less enthusiastic. They're going to try to pull you to be more enthusiastic. If
Exactly.
they're crappy, you're going to be more crappy. Just they're going to try to pull you. And that's the way that sounds to me.
So
Okay.
what I'll say is like, look, we're both, if you're not a business owner, okay, like Luke's not a business owner. So he's got to go in there and say like, hey, we're both business people. We both have busy schedules. It's obvious that I caught you on a day when your schedule was busy. I mean, I've been there. I've had busy schedules. I've had to leave people sitting out in the lobby for, what's it been, 45 minutes? Yeah, I've had to do that before too. And I'm sure you feel about as bad about it as I did. You know, put them in your shoes. Say, I've been in your shoes. And they'll say, do you want to reschedule? Or do we have time now? Or should we just start over? Or is this it? Are we done? Yeah, that's what I would do. And I have done that. I mean, you know,
I like
I've
that.
told you stories where one guy made me sit on the floor for crying out loud. I still can't, I'll never forget that day. That's one that's good.
So explaining the price is your price. in a
Yeah,
better
how do
way.
you explain?
Oh, yeah,
That's
well,
what
You
I'm
ask
talking
questions.
about.
You ask
Do
questions.
you want your
Why-
stuff to work?
What's wrong with the price I gave you? Well, I want it lower. Well, yeah, we all want it lower. It's like, what did Austin Powers say? I want a golden toilet too, baby, but it's not in the cards, is it? You know,
Yes.
you can say,
that's
Suck
the
it to it,
parent.
baby.
I keep thinking of Levy's not taking.
Shut
Price is
up.
the price.
The
And just
person-
because of that, it's gone up 10%. The price is the price. Just
So
because
that's
you won't
what-
answer me, it's gone up 20%.
that's another one you could do. Like, okay, oh, you want to negotiate? You say like, okay, so you say, okay, I just told you the price is 500. You want to negotiate? Yeah, okay, let's start at 700. Go ahead, negotiate me. Give me your offer. We're going to end up at 500 anyway. I'm not going any lower. You know, do it humor-wise, and then you got to have a little bit of rapport at that point. You got to know that they're willing to, you know, that you're joking around. But I want the one. You want the long story or the short story?
Yeah, I like
Oh,
that.
yeah.
I love that one.
Yeah.
I'm going to use that when the opportunity. I got it in my tool bag.
Oh,
When
no.
the opportunity presents itself, I'm using it.
Yeah.
It's like, how long does
That
this
was
take? How long do you want it to take?
Yeah.
I'm waiting for that moment. I'm going to use it.
Give me your credit card.
You want the
Your
short
bank
one?
account.
You want to go quick? You want to go long? You tell me.
I blocked off 2 hours. Is that okay? You want to go a little shorter? We go shorter. How's that? I need bank account information.
See the last line there? That's
Yeah,
a good one
I'm
too.
feeling a lot of pressure.
I mean,
Yeah, I like that one.
when you feel the client's under pressure, you can say like, you know, I'm feeling a lot of pressure here. Are you feeling it too? Like, yeah, I am.
Well,
Why is
this
that?
guy is. This why he's all anxious and stuff because
So ask him why.
He told me, I had heard him vent it yesterday to everybody on the phone.
So he's still alive.
Because everybody's jerking him around.
So the doctor's still alive? Well, it sounds like he's pre-jerking them.
It sounds,
Right.
here's what he's doing.
Sounds like he could be a bad client.
He's telling me that, to my face that, he doesn't want to nickel and dime and he wants to spend the money the right way. But then I'm looking at everything he did and thinking, what your actions don't match your words, dude. I'm not telling that, but in my mind, it's like, you went online, bought these computers that are recertified, they're 4 or 5 years old, and they don't have the right activation key in them. So I know you bought these entry-level laptops, you went to Best Buy and bought the cheapest laptops possible.
They were
Now they
getting,
don't work right. So but then when you tell me though, you don't want to, you're not cheap, but everything you've done is cheap up to this point.
so how do
He's
you
got bad
say that?
education when you
Here's
bought
a
it.
question. How do you tell them that?
How do you point it out?
He pointed out to me yesterday.
So I would ask
He
him,
didn't
okay,
point out his flaw.
you told me in the beginning, what's Bob? What's his name?
John Tielman.
It's John.
John Tielman.
His name is John. That's the problem.
Yeah.
So you say,
Okay.
John, when we first down, you told me that you're not going to nickel and dime, that you're going to pay what it is. But I'm confused because now you're telling me that my price isn't right. Do we have a disconnect?
Mm-hmm.
Did I mishear you when you said you weren't going to nickel and dime me?
That's a good way to say it.
That was my mistake. I must have heard you wrong.
Because you use his own words.
Yeah, you always use your own, right? They never argue with their own words, right? Well, when I said that, I meant as long as the price is reasonable, okay? And reasonable is?
Right, what's reasonable?
Keep giving me information.
You can have a whole pool, or you can have.
Which do you want?
Oh, yeah.
We can give you the computer, we'll just leave out the memory.
Exactly.
Right? We'll take out the disk drive. How about that?
We won't- Yeah.
You have the right to fire the prospect.
I can't wait. I haven't had the opportunity yet. I cannot wait to say, I think we're going to be a good fit together. The door's right there. Don't let it we're good Lord's
You're
good.
lucky.
So-
You're lucky.
I can't wait to say
There's
that.
no luck involved.
No, I mean, he's blessed that he hasn't had to deal with
Not yet. I'm still young and new in this.
Me too.
But you're going to sit down with somebody and you can go, no.
Yeah, you'll know.
We've done it. We've sat with people that there's no way we can help this.
You can see the sun.
They got no money. They believe they have no money, even though they're sitting there saying they have no money, yet they got iPhones and they're drinking.
Well, they could have
fancy
millions
coffee.
of dollars, but they might not be a fit for you.
Well, that was just one example, but there's also been some that are, yeah,
It's
like,
just the attitude. It's the attitude.
We-
Read that book on behavior. It's behavior.
Yeah, the elephant.
I talked to, but see now that's a different, yours is a different use of the elephant room in that boat
Yeah.
than we are. That's 5, 6 blind men see an elephant, they all see it differently. Yeah, so well,
It's a
they're
little different.
both good uses of elephant.
Well,
Anyway.
that's
So rule 7 is a good way to exit. Remember that whole income versus maintenance graph I got? If they're low income, high maintenance, and you can see that right away. You can say, I don't think we're going to be a good fit. And you say, I'd like to refer you to somebody though. Pick out your most hated competitor, who you hate the most, and send them to that. I want you to call this guy.
I know this guy, Jonathan.
Oh,
There you go. He's got it. He nailed it. Hashtag nailed it. You always have the right to become a consultant. Eric is a genius at this. Oh, by the way, you guys should, if you are ever in Altamont on a Tuesday morning, 9 to 11, go to his class.
Who is Eric?
Eric Schulman. He's the teacher up at, Mike Aldrich and Eric Schulman are the 2 franchise owners who are working together.
And Altamont, you said 9.
9 to 11
That's
on
the one I was gonna
Tuesdays.
I had on Tuesdays. I have Toastmasters until 8:30.
They also have
I
GoToMeeting.
know.
If you want to join via GoToMeeting, I can show you how to do that too.
That's cool.
But they are,
I'm gonna do
he's the master at doing this. Like, he was talking to somebody who was a prospect once, and he said, look, I came in here as a salesman. Can I take the sales half off for a minute? I mean, this isn't going to work. We're not going to be a match. Now that's over, can I go consultant and say something to you that I wouldn't say to a prospect, but I would say to a good friend? Yeah.
Sure.
I have to do that.
All right. With your permission. What the hell are you doing? Well, you're crazy. Why are you doing that? I mean, what would a smart businessman do here? You know,
I have this conversation quite a bit, actually.
See, that's a Christine thing you need to use on Christine.
Oh,
see, look, we're not going to be a match, so I'm just going to go consult. Another thing you can do is if they're getting, say you're told that you're going to be part of the bid process. How many of you have been asked to bid? You've been asked to bid before.
In the past, oh yes, numerous times.
Okay.
Because it's very common in my field to get the multiple bids. You know, especially when you're doing a big contracts. They put them out for bids for the big contracts.
Yeah. So Luke, listen up on this. This works in your field too. If you're in a bid situation, I hate bids. I hate bid situations. So, but I always ask up front. Can I ask you, is price going to be the main factor in the bid? And they'll say, well, yeah, it's going to be a factor. Okay, so there's no reason you would go with a bid that's higher price. None. There's no reason you'd go with a bid that's higher price because, you know what, I'm going to back out. We're not going to bid because I know we're not going to be the cheapest. But I'll do this for you. I know the 3 competitors I'm going against, or I should, because I know my business, right? If you would like me to review their bids, at the end, I'll be a consultant for you. I'll be glad to review your bids and I'll tell you whether they're good or not. Now, I've done this several times. Now, it's bitten me a few times too, because one time I said, like, oh, that's actually not a bad quote. What did she hear? That's a good one. Go with it.
Yeah.
So I called her back and she said, yeah, I went with the one you told me to go. I didn't tell you to go with a quote. I said, that one's actually not bad. I didn't mean it was good. And she said, well, you could have done better. I said, yeah.
Oh, man.
Yes, but I guess so I learned to say that. That's actually not a bad quote. Would you like to see one that's better?
There you go.
That's what I should have done. So you can always go consultant and say, like, I will be glad to help you review. And if you have a choice of being, you know, when there are bids and they include presentations, never be the first one in if you can avoid it.
Right now.
Always be the third one or the last one, you know, if you can do it. You have the right to not answer a question. Now, remember, we've been told that if somebody asks the same question twice in a row, we're supposed to answer it. Like they say, if they say, how much does it cost? And they go, well, you know, that's going to depend on, no, how much does it cost? That you have to give them an answer at this point. But I do that one. How can I answer that if I don't know the answer? I don't have enough information to give you that answer yet. You want me to make one up? You want me to give you an uninformed, unprofessional answer? I will reverse it out of there. If that's the, you know, now if it's something I know the answer to and it doesn't really matter, I'll probably just answer to it. I go, it's that. Are we done? I remember one guy called me up one day. He says, like, I'd like a quote on insurance. I said, $500. He said, good, I'll buy it. I go, okay, what are you buying?
Right.
I was going to give you insurance on my goldfish bowl. And he said, okay, but it was a good quote. I said, yeah, but it's not the one you're looking for. So we went through it again, you know. So you always have the right to not answer a question. And we always say you should reverse questions because what happens when you answer a question?
You close the loop.
Yeah.
And giving information.
And they have the upper.
Well, it's
They're
go back to
controlling.
today's topic, Wimp Junction, right? When you answer a question, what's the next thing they do?
Ask another one.
They ask another question. Now, who's in command?
They are.
Who's the traffic director now? They are, right? So it's no longer your system, it's now theirs. So be careful when you answer a question. And also, if you do answer a question, make sure you follow it up with a question. I go, yeah, we have prices that go from 500 to 10,000. But before I give you a quote, I'd like to ask you. I mean, I'm thinking you're more in the 2,000 to 2,500 range. Is that right? Or am I way off? Now I'm into a budget step, aren't I? I'm doing the bracketing. Remember that bracketing we do in the budget? You know, we've got the 500 to 1,000. We've got the 1,000 to 2,500. We got the 2,500 to 10,000. Which bracket would you be in?
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, take a guess. All right. You got the right to ask for referrals at any time. There are better and worse times to ask for referrals, you know, after you've just blown it. Like after you make the mistake, probably not a good time to ask for a referral. Like, hey, would you give me a referral so I can blow it with them too? You know, I'm thinking that might actually work. 'Cause
Yeah.
they-
I try to ask for referrals on three different times at every appointment. Basically, in the middle of it, I'm like, just to get you guys thinking about to ask anything. I like to, if I'm doing a good job for you, and you've learned something great so far, I'd like to talk to you a little bit later about somebody you might know that hear the same conversation. And at the end, you said that you would brainstorm later. So I got that upfront contract.
Like, you just give me a great idea.
I get that upfront contract, and at the end, now I ask about referrals. And then I ask them again, basically, they always come down to money. I was like, my fee is simple. I just want to be introduced to somebody you know that could hear the same thing we talked about.
There you go.
So those are my three referrals.
But you just said something like, if I've done something good for you, if you learned something. So you can ask them, like, have you learned something? Did you get a lesson learned out of our talk today?
Did you find value?
Did you, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think anybody else would? Have I treated you fairly?
Really?
Am I trustworthy and honest?
Not gonna, no, you never ask that.
Well, I do that too.
Because they might tell you no.
And I'm like, why the hell are you sitting down? Why are you here?
I never
Oh,
even
no.
mention the words trustworthy and honest unless I'm talking about somebody else. Because beware of someone who says, I'm an honest person. Right?
Did you find value of a conversation? Do you know anyone
I'll say, like,
who would benefit?
so you found value in what we talked about today.
Yeah,
So
learn something.
have I earned the right to ask you to share that with somebody else? I like the earn the right phrase. Have I earned the right? Yeah, that one I use a lot. Now, do you always get referrals? No, but you do sometimes. Sometimes Eric says he does this. When one is like clearly going bad, it's going down the tubes. He says, we're not going to be a good match. It's probably a dumb time to ask for referrals. Why don't you tell me who's your biggest competitor? Who would you like to see work with me because I'm so bad?
Yeah.
That's funny. I like that.
That's funny.
He said, like 1 time out of 10 you'll actually tell him somebody.
Here's a question based off referrals a little bit. So I talked to many clients, like my friends and coworkers I don't like talking with in my field. I don't like to talk about money with or telling me anything about what I'm doing with my finances. And I don't know if they'd be a good fit for you. I'm the one that should disqualify them, not them. How do I tell them to, hey, let me contact them? If I set up an introduction for somebody they don't want to talk to that they work with about money, So
I'm
it's hard for
surprised
me.
you don't know the answer to this.
I don't know the answer. I was like, make them sit down with me anyway. Give me a call. Do I need to stop by your work? I mean,
This is an exercise for the class. What should he do in this situation?
Say it again.
so I have a client, or well, I guess he's a client now, and he doesn't want.
No,
he's got.
generically. He wants to talk to the people. He wants to qualify them. He doesn't want his friends qualifying them for him.
No, I'm asking them
Coworkers
for
or
referrals.
friends.
Oh.
I'm asking for them for potential referrals, and they don't want to give me referrals because they don't think they would be a good fit for me, or they don't want to talk to them about money to let them know that they're working with me or something, So I don't know how to break that gateway into
So
their
you
net.
want to say like, well, let me be the judge of that. Yeah.
But
is
how
that
do
what
I-
you're
That's what he
saying?
wants to say. So how does he
How
do
do
it?
I do that? How do I have them talk to their coworkers and friends and family?
Just say, there's no pressure on you. There's going to be no pressure on them. I just need to see if we're going to be a good fit for something like that. I've had somebody say that to me before, and it made me feel more comfortable referring. Somebody said something like, it's up to them. They can decide. I'll just give them a call, and if they don't want to talk to me, that's fine. I don't know. Delicate.
John knows the answer.
I don't know,
He's
what do you-
trying to say it.
What's the answer?
That's one. I'm giving it for 2 over here. That's a great answer. I really appreciate that. Thank you. I think
It's
that's
not.
right.
It's not a bad answer. It's just missing a key element.
I don't know.
And what could that key element be? What
It's
could
a
that
question.
key element? It's
Did I
got to
leave
be
out
a
a
question.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, do you?
So why do you think they shouldn't? Well, I don't
Is there
know.
something
No, okay.
about? Is there
So-
something about me that would set them off?
So I get the feeling that you're trying to qualify them for me. And I appreciate you trying to help me, but can I ask you, who's more qualified to qualify? Would it
Sure.
be you or me?
Now, what if he doesn't want to talk to them at all about their finances? It's like, hey, I'm talking to a financial advisor. I think it'd be great for you. He doesn't want to bring that into his workplace.
Oh,
Yeah.
that could be a challenge. How can we get around that?
I don't know.
I mean, you asked them. That could be a challenge. How can we get around that?
That's a good point. I like it.
I mean, do you see any way you could be introduced to him where, you know, you don't feel like you're introducing him to a life insurance guy? Because that's what they're thinking. Oh, yeah, I'm just a life insurance guy. And you got to say, am I the typical life insurance guy?
I can say that's a no. I got a great personal message from somebody about my service to them.
Well, but the guy who isn't telling you, he doesn't want to bring it into his work. What's his impression of you?
Yeah, I mean, I guess he likes me. And his wife loves me.
How do you find out?
Ask him.
Yeah, how about that? You don't go and go, do you like me? that might work.
It's like,
I would
I
say-
guess you would ask him is like, so how do you think our relationship's going right now? You think we have a good
I get the feeling. I get the feeling you're not sure whether you can trust me with your friends. Am I way off on that?
I get the what?
I get the feeling you're not sure you could trust me with to talk to your
That's a
friends.
good
Am I way off on that?
I like that one.
Yeah.
I wonder if maybe I could ask him if I throw something. I won't say throw something, but if I could, I'm not. If I could put together a lunch for you and your coworkers, whatever,
Yeah.
on me for lunch. I don't know, because that's just me.
Invite
Just
people over.
No, that's selling,
yeah.
and it's
I
buying.
want
really.
referrals. I want
That's
referrals.
transactioning. Can I give you some? This is the special secret sauce. Okay. When you're thinking of your questions, try to put yourself in their position and imagine what question they would like to hear. Like, what would not offend them? What would pique their interest? Because
Do you not care
try
about
to
your
do.
coworkers?
Yeah, you don't.
That's what I think about. I mean, do you not care about your coworkers?
Yeah, but they don't want you to ask them that.
Can you ask them?
If I ask you, do you care? You don't care about your coworker?
I do 100%. I believe. I want them to take care of their families.
Here comes the hammer. See, right there. See, so you don't.
I
want-
can't understand people who don't care about other people. Doesn't make sense. That take care of their person.
There's some people that don't love their fellow man, and I hate people like that.
I do. I hate them.
Coming from the guy that would just walk by the guy that fell over.
Well, if he didn't watch where he's sitting, I'll say, well, you should watch where you're walking. You know, I expect someone else to do the same thing. You okay? Good. Walk. Bye.
Right,
I don't know.
We're going to turn the hammer into a fuzzy-covered mallet sooner or later. Here, we really.
It's my dang kitty.
It's instead of being a bang, it's going to be a boink.
Cat's softer than me.
So when you do ask for referrals, you know, I get the feeling you don't want to refer me. What I do wrong? I just want to. I mean, I'm not asking you for a referral because you obviously don't want to refer me, but what I do wrong?
I think he
Correct me.
doesn't mind. They don't want to refer him. It's just he doesn't want to refer to people he works with, his family's.
Why?
I don't know. It's
We
like
have a
don't
natural-
Some people like me have a
Natural.
barrier. I keep personal and business separate, and I think that might be part of it.
Well,
I personally do not.
But I want to know that.
Yeah.
So I will ask you. That's why I say ask me
Oh,
why.
I got you. Okay.
So I think he's getting at is you want to find out from them what's the big reason why, so you come up with a reason to go around it, and not just for that case, but for future cases.
Sure.
So
Yeah, that makes sense.
So what? I understand maybe you say I understand there might be some intimidations because you might not want to make business and work. Well, how can we get around that? You know, you don't want
Once they say it, let them say it first.
yeah, but you ask questions, but I think that's I know I do. I do not want to deal with personal and business. I keep 100% separate. I don't mix the two. I don't want anybody. I don't.
But, and you definitely don't want to use a guilt trip either. You don't want to say like,
No.
are you really comfortable with your people like wasting all their money and not getting the savings I can get them?
Right.
Because that's a
Guilt is
guilt
not
trip.
good.
You don't want to do a guilt trip. You want to say, go not okay. Oh, geez, well, I'd really like to talk to them. You think there's some way we could do it that wouldn't break your role?
Yeah.
Is there a way to do it that's not against the rules? Because that's a good rule. I get your rule. Keep business and
Personal separate.
personal separate. So I was just wondering if there's some way we could do that wouldn't break the rule. And then let them break the rule, you know, because you're not okay now, right? You just went like, you went down, not okay. Now they're going to try to lift you
They're
up.
going to try to make you okay again.
Yeah.
You're saying to the left of that. You're saying
Yeah, I got you.
it's not easy.
I just got to figure out some
It's a
questions.
lot.
Well, I'm gonna spend some time in the shower talking to my shower head.
Yeah, there you go.
Questions, thinking about weeds.
They're going to put John's picture on your childhood.
Oh, please,
I'm
no.
gonna put some pictures of Buffalo Wild Wings in there.
I told them about the time when we had this church.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Listen, it's
We don't want these horrible visuals. Please stop.
It was just a password.
you imagine my picture on the
It was.
face of a shower head? How much vomit would be in that shower? Trying to make Grace laugh.
Well, that was pretty-
Okay,
She just-
so the checklist is whose system? Right? We want to know whose system we're using. You plant your feet, use your Bill of Rights. You don't need it. No begging. You do not need every client. Obviously, not every one of the clients. So did I cover all those? I covered questioning. I feel pressure, going consultant, asking tough questions, and getting permission. You can do anything if you get permission. You know, hey, I have to do something right now that might, my hand might slip and hit you in the head. I just want to let you know that. Is that okay if I do it anyway? How many people can say like, yeah, it's okay. Oh, I'm really sorry.
As long as nobody get hit in the back, go ahead.
I mean, there's a certain percentage of people out there that are going to say like, yeah, you go
Go
ahead.
ahead and hit me on it.
If you ask permission, you can do just about anything. That's the point I'm trying to make.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I like it.
Okay, so recognize Wimp Junction when you're there. Look for the signs. And when you're answering questions instead of asking them.
So now I'm confused on what Wimp Junction is.
It's when who's taking over the conversation? You gonna let the prospect control it, or you gonna?
So give a quick rundown on what section in that you might be at a,
In the summary.
yeah, what section, well, like, John, like, have a conversation about, with a client, like, you two role plays.
It's just
I
about
get
all
it
of it.
now. I get it. I just was being connected with
So,
Wimp Junction.
So Dwayne, we were agreed to meet today about payroll.
Right.
Talk about problem. We already discussed problems, right? So you want to fix this? Okay. You're the decision maker, right?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Okay. It's $50. It's $50 a month. Are you ready to pay that?
No.
What step did I skip?
You skipped a whole bunch of steps.
Yeah. So that was a Wimp Junction, wasn't it? I got out of the system. Anytime you get out of the system, it's a Wimp Junction. That's what it is. Anytime you leave the system, either because of your own mistake or because they force you out. You've got, see, remember the little picture there at the beginning?
And
The one that drives the hammer crazy?
You could go start asking questions again.
See that? There's the wrong way and there's the right way.
There is no wrong way. It's just a longer path to get to the right way.
Well, it could be wrong.
No, it's not the wrong way.
Well, you're gonna have to come back.
Yep.
All
The
right,
wrong way is not. It's never a wrong way. It's
It's
just
the long way.
it's the long way.
I'm not sure I agree with that, but okay.
I do,
this is
because you're gonna go this
philosophy.
way, realize you're jacked up, and you're gonna have to do a U-turn and go back and go this
If
way.
you realize.
Yes, you can always recover. You can always back up.
I don't agree with the wrong way thing.
If you want to make the sale speed up, what do?
Slow down.
That's right.
Slow, smooth as fast.
So I want to hear a success or failure story when you're in a sales situation and you feel like either it got away from you or it was about to and you stopped it. Why do we ask for lessons learned?
You can learn lessons.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
Now, there's some really good reasons we ask for lessons learned.
So we can all learn from each other's successes and failures.
Well, that's more the wins and losses.
Wins and losses, that's
Practice.
what I was thinking.
Lessons learned.
Oh, you mean at the
Oh,
end, when we're doing this, we're
We
reviewing.
retain.
Retention.
Retention,
Yeah.
yes. I want you to remember something. Oh, remember in the beginning of the class you said that and someone would shout out and say, oh, God.
Learn. Learn.
That's something that you
That's not great in your video. when you send it out.
My lesson
Okay.
learned is use your microphone.
So, yeah, I should have needed that. That's a lesson learned. Okay,
Yeah, we're,
so it's for retention. So who has lesson learned?
Asking, do you know what I do?
Yeah,
yeah, I
well,
like
you've
that one,
forgotten that
actually.
already, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
Are you aware of what we do or what I do? Or are you aware, how familiar are you with our services? Would it make sense for me to take a minute and tell you about what we do?
That's a good
And then
one.
you can decide whether it's even worth talking. Good one.
I think for me, it's something I do now to a point, but I think adding this question will make it even better. It's asking the tough questions, but ask him prior to that, it's okay now, we gotta talk about some tough questions. Now take him off guard instead of me just going straight in and saying,
Yeah.
where the hell's all your money going?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, so
yeah.
it's okay, we're getting some real deep questions right now.
Getting permission.
So that is, something I'm definitely
There's
I like to ask for referrals at any time.
anytime. There's a sailor instructor named Guru Ganesh. And
Love the name.
I can't remember his last name, but he wears the turban. He's a tall, skinny guy who wears a turban, and he's really funny. I mean, he's like stand-up comedian funny. But one of the things he says is it's always best to soften them up, get them fearing the worst. Like he's the one that came up with that. You got your seatbelt on, that one's him. Are you sitting down? You got your seatbelt on? A lot. How much it does? Oh, a lot. I mean, a real lot. They're thinking, yeah, a lot. And then you come in with a number that's less than a lot.
Correct. And now you just alleviated the person, and they're really trouble.
Now you sound reasonable.
I've told you the story many times. I'll just finish with it. I had a guy who told me he had a certain amount of money he wanted to spend. He wanted to spend $600 a month. No more than that. That was his top limit. He said 400. I said up to. He said 600, but not to exceed. He goes, I really don't want to go over 600. Okay, 600 is the limit. So if I come in here tomorrow with a quote that's under $600 a month, you're okay with it. What'll happen? He says, we'll go ahead. You'll sign it. You'll write me a deposit check. Yeah. Okay, good. So I called him the next morning. I said, Mike, got good news and bad news. What's the good news? I'll tell you what. What do you want to hear first? I want to hear the bad news. Well, I'll give you the good news first. I always do the opposite.
Yeah.
The good news is you're approved. I got you approved. Bad news is the price, isn't it? I go, yes, it is, Mike. It is the price. I tried like hell to get that thing to 600, but I couldn't get it over 520.
I knew you were going to say that.
What do you want to do? He goes, send me the contract. I'll sign it. So how are we doing? It is
I have a lesson learned.
okay.
So you have a right not to answer a question, especially if you don't know all of the info. Like how am I going to answer that question when I can't answer the question?
You have the right not to answer a question.
Right.
That's correct.
I don't have all the information I need to answer that question.
You wouldn't want me to give you an answer that's not correct.
Yeah.
It's not an answer that I don't have all like uninformed
answer.
uninformed answer.
I have to gather the information. I have to go back and process it and look at the pros and cons of different scenarios to get the right answer.
I get that a lot.
I don't know. So is there a chance we set a follow-up appointment? I don't know. I'm just spitballing right now.
Yeah. Yeah,
Just try to think what the other person is thinking and what they need to hear right then and what they would like to hear and what's going to engage them and what's not going to piss them off. Because I was always been good at pissing them off, and I still am sometimes. I sometimes make the wrong judgment, make a mistake, and say something that I think is fair, and they run out of the office crying.
So can you say something like, there are things you're going to want to hear, but I might not be able to say them. And, are you prepared to hear what you don't want to hear? Something like that.
That's a good one. Say, should I hold back the stuff you don't want to hear, or do you want to hear that too? Let me know. I mean, I can give you, do you want the real version or the Dr. Seuss version? I'll rhyme while I say it.
Back line?
So Luke, you got a lesson? Microphone.
I guess kind of the lesson learned is a little bit about defending your price when we were talking about that. And the other, I forget which number it was, but I think it was maybe number 3. Okay, well, it wasn't number 3, but that was a good one as well. But just as far as defending your price, you have the right to make sure the customer's comparing. Like I always use the adage: "Are we comparing apples to apples?"
Yeah.
Okay.
Because
Is that the fair trial one?
every product I've ever sold, someone always comes in with the cut rate version of it and says, "Why can't you do it for this cut rate price?" And then I have to say, "Well, that's a similar product, but it's nowhere near what we sell, and this is why." And then, when you get into defending your price, one of the things that I've always said is we already have the lowest price possible on it. We wouldn't come in with some sky high gouged price to anybody.
Hmm.
We don't really have a whole lot of room to budge.
You're telling them and not asking them. What if you were to say something like, we're never the lowest. I mean, that's a nice cheap price you got there. I'm sure a lot of people go with that, but still a lot of people go with us. Why do you think that is? And then, give me the top 3 reasons you think people go for us instead of them. Whatever those 3 reasons are, that's your top 3 reasons.
Right.
Yeah, it works.
Well, I think one thing you said earlier, right now, is this decision going to be totally made about price?
I'll ask that all the time in the beginning. If I'm doing a proposal, like, is this all about price? Can I just send over a piece of paper with a price on it? Or do you really want a proposal? And they'll say,
Because especially in the product world, when they're looking at strictly a product, they're not, and sometimes they're not even informed enough to even know what they're looking at from other people. I mean, Luke's business seems complicated with print. They don't understand the quality of paper, they don't understand the way it's bonded, the way it's all these things. So
color matching, misregistration,
and not really understand that this price doesn't include everything Luke does.
improper material.
There's so many different variables in what he does.
His business, actually, and I know this because I used to sell printing, is that quality matters a lot in printing. If you've ever gotten a bad quality print job, you know what I mean. And I would stress that to people. I'd say, have you ever gotten a print job that was less quality than you expected?
That's a good question there, Luke, having your own repertoire.
Yeah. Did they fix it for you? No charge? Or did it cost you more money? Have you ever gotten one where the registration was off, where they used the wrong material, or the color was all off? All the faces came out purple. Yeah.
Have you ever lost? Have you ever,
couldn't read certain parts.
Have you ever had a problem getting your product on a timely manner?
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that go into your product and sale that they aren't aware of. So if you look at this cut rate price, yeah, it's cut rate, but that's you get what you pay for.
Everything Mid-York's ever done for us has been top quality. And we've done, they did our brochures, they did they did a lot of stuff for us. Those little things we carry the beers around in, what do you call it, 4-packs.
The same thing when I was on the server people.
Yeah.
When we're, so they have people online, like this?
Well, they're not really an online company,
No Yelp or anything.
Well, but see, if the owner of Procter & Gamble doesn't go to Yelp to look for a review for.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're not real. They might, but
it's way different than retail. And in a lot of ways, it's way different than selling services too.
Mm-hmm.
It's more of an account management thing than it is like a retail showroom type of thing.
But I would certainly ask questions to find out, so price is an issue, but does quality matter? Because guess what? Price is never the main issue. It's never the main issue. I don't think it ever goes higher than 40% of it. Because they got to get what they want, right? Then they start arguing over the price. First, they got to get what they want. So you got to prove to them you can deliver what they want. Then they'll start to, they want to negotiate with it. And I did hear that the other day when someone did the negotiation and they said, okay, it's $500. Okay, you want to negotiate? Okay, I'll start. $700. And the guy just said, wait, okay, $800. Going for $9.
I used to work with a guy who was a really good salesman, and he did exactly that same thing every time.
Wow.
He would almost double the price. If it was a $10,000 unit and the guy said, "Hey, I used to get those for $8,000," he'd say, "Okay, well, we have them at $14,000 now." I mean, like clockwork, he would always do that. And at first it kind of would ruffle some feathers, but he never shied away from that. That was always his strategy, and he was pretty good.
Wow.
I'm dating myself now, but there was a movie that came out in the 70s called Paper Moon with Tim O'Neill.
Yep, I remember that movie. I barely
And she
remember.
was a little salesman, con type.
Yeah, and I had, what's his name in it? The Goldie Hawn's husband.
But she said she was negotiating with,
First one.
not Kurt.
Who's the
The other
Before Kurt Russell, the other guy.
It's the one with his daughter.
The blonde hair.
What's her daughter's name?
Kevin O'Neill.
No.
I'm trying to talk about what she said, and she's negotiating. This one guy said, he says, "What do you want for it?" She goes, $30. She goes, "That's your guy." 50. She goes, "You just said 30. Done." She got her price. All right, so I think everybody had a lessons learned, which is good. Grace learned that she can actually watch us while sitting in the dining room. Okay, so next week, actually, I'm not sure we're going to do that'll be 2 weeks from now. Next week, we're going to do head trash. Just to let you know, head trash is anything that's in your head that shouldn't be in there. It's part of IR theory. Remember we talked about the identity versus the role. Everyone is an I-10. If you're not an I-10, it means you got head trash. And you got to get that trash out of your head. Okay? Things like, under my circumstances, I always say, what are you doing under there? I don't have enough money.
You're talking as to a customer saying that would say that?
To myself.
Oh, okay.
Or to someone I'm counseling. Under our, I'm not talking about counseling, I'm talking about getting people up to an I-10 and getting yourself up.
Okay.
If you start making excuses for why you're where you are, that's head trash, because excuses are useless.
Okay.
You are where you, what did Norman Vincent Peale say? You are where you are because that's where you want to be. Everybody, you are where you are right now because you want to be right where you are. If you didn't want to be here, you wouldn't be here. There's this 90-year-old lady who was like a columnist for this like old farmer's paper up in Ohio or something. She had these 45 great sayings, and one of them was, if everybody put their problems on a pile and you saw everyone else's, you would quickly grab back your own.
Yeah.
Right. So your problems are never an excuse for not moving forward. And what was the Green Mile? What did the guy say? You're either starting to live or starting to die today. Something like that.
Yeah, I can't remember that movie that well. I remember the big guy, Coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you're not growing, you're dying, basically. If you're not moving forward, you're moving towards the grave. But just like say, you can be on the right track. You can be on the right train track. But if you're stationary, you're going to get hit by a train. So you got to be moving if you're on the train track. Dick Van Dyke is, I don't know what, 900 years old now or something like that.
Older than dirt.
Still in the 80s.
They asked him why but he's older. He's in his 90s. He's still dancing and enjoying himself. And I think it was Conan O'Brien asked him, what's the secret? He goes, the secret's keep moving.
Absolutely.
Death can't hit a moving target.
Yeah. Well.
You don't stop moving because you get old. You get old because you stop moving.
Okay, so that's it for this week. So next week we'll be talking about head trash and maybe get to the 7 reasons most sales fall through. Did you want to say something, Luke?
No, I was just gonna say goodbye.
Okay, see you later.
Bye.
All right, bye everybody. Thank you for joining us. Stopping the recording as soon as I can get the button to pop up. Come on, pop up. There it is. Stopping the recording right now. See you all next week.